In just a matter of few weeks, we will be welcoming the year of 2022. Now, however you are going to celebrate your New Year's Eve, as far as your fragrance needs are concerned, I got you covered. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another one for my video series I'm calling the Olfactory Library, where I share to everyone here on YouTube my love for fragrances. Now for today's video in particular is going to be all about fragrances that can work however you are going to celebrate your New Year's Eve. Some people might be celebrating their New Year's Eve around their families. Some are going to be around friends. Some people might be going on some intimate date with their loved one, on a dinner date or somewhere private. These fragrances I think will work however you're going to celebrate it. Again, in this video, I have fragrance suggestions that are coming from both niche and designers. And also in this list, I have fragrances that will work for men and women. For the first category, this would be New Year's Eve that you will be celebrating around your family. Also, the reason why I want to get this out of the way is the first perfume that I'm going to talk about is a men's perfume that I have countlessly suggested in this channel. And if you have been watching my videos, I think you probably already know what this one is. The first one is London for Men by Burberry. This one has prominent notes of oak moss, lavender, tobacco leaf, and cinnamon. Now you all already know how much I love this perfume, and honestly I just can't recommend this perfume enough. Also, kind of a little bit selfish, I want people to enjoy this as much as I do so that this would not be discontinued. I want you all to be buying this one, but at the same time, it really is worth your money. This is the base or the DNA or a backbone of a classic men's cologne with that oak moss and that lavender. But what made this work and what made me fall in love with this perfume is the addition of those modern touches coming from the tobacco and the cinnamon that made this honestly just really modern and just really addicting and really stands out in all of the men's cologne in the market right now. Now this perfume is such a compliment getter. When you will be around your family, obviously you have ages, you have people in there that range from the oldest to the youngest, and this perfume for sure is going to appeal to that range of demographic. A very gentlemanly perfume, but at the same time smells very festive with that smoky and spicy cinnamon at the top. Just very addicting and sexy at the same time, but also very much appropriate for the season. For women, what I think would work around family is Parfums de Marly's Delina, and this one is the original Eau de Parfum with the prominent notes of lychee, rhubarb, rose, musk, and vanilla. Now this is perhaps the most famous women's perfume in the market as of the moment. Everybody loves this one from both men and women, and I can see why they love this. It's very addicting, it's very sexy. Well, probably less of the sexy but more of the pretty. This is very feminine, but at the same time you have that addicting and very decadent combination of musk and vanilla at the background. This opens with that very watery, juicy, sort of vegetal rhubarb at the top, which opens and paves the way for this dewy and jammy rose to come in. But as far as a New Year's Eve is concerned, this perfume smells very well put together, very feminine, such a compliment getter, such a crowd pleaser. This I think would really work for your New Year's Eve needs. For the next category, this is going to be perfumes that I think will work in those situations where you will be celebrating your New Year's Eve in somewhere private, somewhere more intimate. Probably you're going to welcome your 2022 in a candlelit dinner or in a rooftop somewhere, just the two of you with a view. For women, I'm going to recommend Coco Noir. This has prominent notes of peach, patchouli, white musk, benzoin, and vanilla. Now this perfume is what I consider a modern classic, but mind you, this perfume has the reputation to be the one perfume in the mainstream designer line of Chanel to be the most unisex, and I do have to agree. Other than the fact that I am a firm believer that perfumes don't necessarily should have a gender, this perfume is just really something that I know men could totally rock, and I personally just love wearing this perfume a lot. But for this video, I am recommending this perfume to women. This is very well put put together. This is very classy. This perfume is sophistication and class in a bottle, but at the same time, it has that sexiness in there, especially with that very powdery musk in the base. It's sexy, but it's never doing too much. It smells very self-assured. Just an overall a classy and beautiful, iconic perfume that I think really works for intimate situations. For men, what I'm recommending is a flanker of an original, and this is Fahrenheit Les Parfums. This perfume has prominent notes of suede, rum, vanilla, and violet leaves. The original Fahrenheit came out around the 80s, I think, and that came as an eau de toilette. This one came out probably last year or just this year in the Parfum concentration. Now, how this one smells, if you're familiar with the original, it smells like that, but it toned down some of that violet leaves and that sort of gasoline kind of accord in there. In this version, they added boozy notes through rum and added a lot of that vanilla that really makes this perfume. This one smells less abrasive and a lot more wearable. And honestly, this one has an amazing sillage or an amazing scent trail. Very addicting combination of that vanilla contrasted by this beautiful sort of rough, leathery, ozonic qualities at the top, with that effervescent violet at the top as well. This perfume is just really masculinity in a bottle. Smells very gentlemanly, perfect for intimate situations and perfect for date nights. For the next category is for those New Year's Eve celebration around a group of friends, somewhere outside. And for men, what I'm recommending is coming from the house of Penhaligons, and this is Halfeti Cedar. Now, this perfume has prominent notes of cedarwood, peach, dried fruits, rum, and vanilla. Now, I was debating with myself whether I should recommend this one or the Halfeti leather, but ultimately I ended up with this one because this one has the beautiful peach and dried fruits at the top that really creates that celebratory, vibrant, and playful vibe to this perfume. It has some leather nuance at the back, which will remind you sort of the leather that is used in Halfeti leather, but ultimately it has this beautiful dry cedar in the back that really creates this masculine backbone with that hint of, like I said, that sort of leather accord in the background, which is very faint in my opinion. It's more of the beautiful cedar wood in the back, its dryness and its woodiness that creates this very masculine appeal, contrasted by this beautiful, vibrant fruit notes. It's playful and just really fits the fun vibe of being surrounded by friends. And now for women, what I'm recommending is from the house of YSL, and this is Libre de Parfum. This one has prominent notes of orange blossom, mandarin orange, vanilla, and lavender. Now, in my opinion, I know a lot of people are probably going to come for me for saying this, but this I think is a cross between Delina and Love Don't Be Shy. You could probably say that this is Love Don't Be Shy without the gourmand notes of caramels and the marshmallow accord. Or you could say this is Delina without the peonies and rose. Really, the orange blossom is the star of this perfume. It's very sexy and very vibrant. This one is sexy, playful, but at the same time you have that benzoin and vanilla that really creates this classy and warm mood to this perfume. The last category is for those New Year's Eve celebration that is a little bit more formal, and in this category I have 3 perfume selections, all of which are, I think, is just very unisex. Although one perfume is marketed towards women, while the other one is unisex that slightly leans towards the masculine side. And lastly, you have the perfectly unisex perfume from Frederic Malle. Now, to begin, I'm going to start with Black Orchid by Tom Ford. This perfume has prominent notes of truffles, vanilla, spices, fruit notes, and patchouli. Now, fun fact, this perfume, when this was originally released, this was marketed towards women. However, over the years, men have been buying this more than women, I think, and I know a lot of men who loves to wear this perfume. And over the years, I think Tom Ford realized that probably half of the customers buying this perfume are men, that in a lot of Tom Ford counters, you would probably see this sometimes in the female section, sometimes in the men's section. I think this perfume is just perfectly unisex. Both men and women can rock this perfume perfectly. It has this earthy, slightly chocolatey kind of vibe in the background coming from the truffles, and is complemented by this chocolatey, effervescent patchouli and that creamy vanilla in the base. There really is just no other perfume in the market right now that smells like this one. This is a true original. And what this perfume reminds me so much of is the movie that Tom Ford directed himself called A Single Man, starring Julianne Moore and Colin Firth. that was released in 2009. This perfume has that kind of vibe. If you've seen that movie, it's one of my most favorite movies of all time. It's sexy, it has this sort of noir vibe. It's all about love, it's all about riskiness. That movie is this perfume in a bottle. The second perfume is staying in the line of Tom Ford. Probably this is the first time that I have ever recommended this perfume in my channel, and this is Tobacco Vanille. This perfume has prominent notes of vanilla, tobacco, spices, and cacao. Now I have completely butchered this perfume. I don't know if you could see this because this perfume got scratched when I was transporting my perfume when I moved from where I used to live into this city. But anyways, the reason why I think I haven't recommended this in the past is because I'm quite sensitive to the note of tobacco, and I personally don't like the smell of cigarette smoke. Now, although this doesn't smell like a cigarette smoke, it just smells like tobacco leaf. And honestly, I don't know, growing up, I loved the smell of tobacco leaf. My grandmother used to smoke a lot of tobacco. She had tobacco leaves lying in her house and she would just roll them whenever she wants to smoke them. And honestly, I used to love the smell of burning tobacco leaf in comparison to the smell of a cigarette. But for some reason, I just haven't been reaching this one that much since this year, since I started this channel. But when I was coming up with what perfumes that I'm going to put in this list, I got reminded of this perfume and of how beautiful this perfume is. And no wonder why this is one of the best-selling perfumes from Tom Ford, and rightfully so, because this is just really beautiful, sexy, very unisex. Now this was the perfume that I was talking about that I, in my opinion, think this leans a little bit towards masculine direction because of the tobacco note. Because in a lot of perfumes, you would find the tobacco note more in masculine perfumes or men-targeted perfumes and less in women-targeted perfumes. Although they're very prominently used in niche perfumes that are very unisex. But personally, I just think that the tobacco in here just really pulls this perfume slightly, just a little bit slightly towards masculine direction. But as you would know me, I believe that perfumes don't necessarily have gender. Anyone can rock this, especially with this one, because the tobacco note in this perfume isn't really overpowering and it's perfectly balanced by this creamy, slightly leaning towards gourmand kind of vanilla, which makes this perfume just really addicting and at the same time just really sexy. And for the last perfume, we're going to the house of Frederic Malle, and this is Portrait of a Lady. Now this perfume has prominent notes of rose, patchouli, incense, spices, and raspberry. Yes, this is another rose patchouli perfume, but in my opinion, this is a rose patchouli perfume and more. This, I think, is such a perfume masterclass. For anyone who is into perfumeries, this, I think, is such an inspiration. It smells very sophisticated, beyond just being a rose and patchouli combination. It smells very complex, but at the same time very wearable, very sexy, and very approachable. It has prominent raspberry and blackcurrant at the top to give this perfume a slight fruitiness, and at the same time just really offsets all that harsh and heavy notes in the base of this perfume. You have the beautiful patchouli, and then you have the spices and the incense in here. This perfume is very complex, but such a very classy and just skilled perfumery in a bottle. This perfume is such a head turner. It will capture everybody's attention very effortlessly. I think this perfume just requires those kinds of situations where you will have to be dressed up. This is not something that you can dress down. This perfume just really demands that. Other than the fact that this perfume is such a commanding perfume, it really commands the room. The beautiful jammy rose, this very creamy, slight chocolatey patchouli, and that sparkle of spices at the top, really just, I think, just perfect for New Year's Eve. So that is it, everybody. This completes today's list. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making this one. I know it has been a minute since I last posted a video, but we are here, and thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you are new here, again, my name is Reno. Welcome to my channel, and if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for tuning back in. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. Consider also liking this video. Your like can really go a long way. And if you want to be notified if I do upload new videos in the future, consider hitting the notification bell aside from subscribing to this channel. And as always, I do hope that everybody is staying safe, stay curious, and I'll see you on the next one.